To say that the Ohio State 2024 national championship team had NFL talent would be a massive understatement. This team has the chance to break the record for most NFL players to come out of a college in one NFL draft. The record is 15 by the Georgia Bulldogs in 2022, and frankly, it's going to come down to G. Scott Jr., the tight end last year, and whether or not he gets drafted. As well as Ty Hamilton, it's possible that he doesn't, but he probably will. But if those two guys do, the rest of the list will make it. This is a breakdown of where the Ohio State players from that national championship team are going to go somewhere in this range of the NFL draft, where you can expect them to get drafted come April 24th. It's funny, this guy won't be in the draft, the best player from that team arguably, alongside star safety Caleb Downs, the best two players from that team not in this year's draft, and Carnell Tate, another member, probably a first-round pick. So to start this off, Josh Simmons is likely the highest prospect on here. He could have been the best offensive line prospect. He got injured against Oregon. So he's projected to be a first-rounder somewhere between 10 and 32. It's going to be very hard to gauge where he goes depending on where teams will take him, but he is a monster to anchor the left side of a team's offense for a long time. Does the first round ride continue with these Ohio State wide receivers? Most likely it will. And we think about Carnell Tate from that team, who was not eligible to join this draft and likely could be a first rounder next year, followed by obviously Jeremiah Smith. But Emeka Egbuka, if he doesn't go first round, teams are making an extreme mistake. He should be. He arguably 2 years ago was one of the best wide receivers, and then we saw Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze have huge seasons, and again, Marvin Harrison Jr. taking a huge share of the targets when he won the Biletnikoff, the best wide receiver in college football. So I see Egbuka going somewhere again between 15 and 32 to the end of the first round, somewhere between the middle to the end of the first round. Donovan Jackson, an unsung hero, maybe a sung hero for that Ohio State national championship team. I project him to go somewhere between 24 to about 50, so late first round to early middle second. But he is going to get drafted without a doubt. He is a dynamic player because he can play left guard, he can play left tackle, which he did. Some people think that his performance against Penn State needed a little bit of work. 2 sacks given up to Abdul Carter. I don't think anyone is knocking him on it, just based off of the way he played down the stretch of that season when they really needed the help when Josh Simmons went down. Tyleik Williams, think he could be a late first round pick potentially. There's Derek Harmon, there's Walter Nolan, some of those interior defensive linemen. Mason Graham's the cream of the crop at the top of this. Kenneth Grant is also another name there to pay attention to, but Tyleik Williams, late first round to around that pick 50 range. We'll see him go early second if possible. So most likely, if I had to say, Josh Simmons and Egbuka will be first rounders, with Donovan Jackson, Tyleik Williams going very early in the second. This is now a range of guys that I believe are going to be second rounders, but do have the upside to potentially go late first. So starting off with Kinshawn Judkins, have him just a hair above Travion Henderson, just based off of the health and the production he had with Ole Miss before he transferred. If he went to any other school, I guess Boise, he would have to compete with Genty, but he would have been potentially the best back in America getting the carries. But sharing the load with Travion made him better, and I think his career will be better for it. So at 26 to 50 range, so late first to middle second round for Kinshawn Judkins, but a lot of running back needy teams could use a guy like Kinshawn. And then right behind him, Travion Henderson. I have him in that same range, to be honest, 26 to 50. They're going to get a great blocker in these two guys. Travion is as good of a kid as you're going to get, and there's a whole lot of those on this team. People always talk about Egbuka, but Trey's ability to block, he's a bit lighter than Kinshawn at 201, a little bit smaller, but he is faster in terms of, you saw the 40. He is a piece of lightning in a bottle. You can compare him to like a Jahmyr Gibbs, and you'll be fine with that. He's going to make someone very dangerous in their backfield once he gets to the National Football League. Continue the second rounders, the edge pair, JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer. Definitely see them as second rounders, somewhere in that 35 to 70 range, like early second to late second. It just depends on where teams go with their need. This is a crazy edge draft this year. There are so many defensive line talents at the edge position. Like, this thing is 12 deep, so it just depends on where they're going to end up going. But you'll see JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer go off the board in day 2. Again, their performance in the college football playoff was something to behold. If they played that way their whole careers, easily top 5 picks, but it's incredibly tough to make that happen. The sack total from the two of them, what was it, like 7.5 from the college football playoff combined. They were turning the ball over, getting pressure on the quarterback, hitting the quarterback, and were pretty much unstoppable. Have a very strict third-round grade on Denzel Burke. Frankly, he might have lost a whole round because of that Oregon film that's on him, getting beat deep. Evan Stewart just completely torched him throughout that late Saturday night game at Alton Stadium. But besides that, he has been the number 1 corner for the Buckeyes for 2 seasons. Him and Igbinosun have held things down. Another player that's going to be drafted after next season. So Denzel Burke, I don't see him dropping to the 4th, but I really don't see teams taking him in the 2nd. Feel very confident he'll go somewhere in the 3rd round. He adds an element of that man ability, and he can come down and tackle pretty well. We want to talk about coming down and tackling pretty well. That's Lathan Ransom. This kid will make you feel it. He is 3rd to 4th round. That seems to be about where he goes. Could potentially slide to the 5th. Do not know why teams would let him go that far, just because of his sheer tackling ability and his knack to put his nose right by the football and just pound someone. You do not want to throw over to the side of the field where he is and throw it inaccurately to the chance where you can hurt your wide receiver, because Lathan will make that happen. Now we're going into the range a little bit later. I've got 3 guys that are in the 4th round to the 5th round. So that's Cody Simon, Jordan Hancock, and Will Howard. We'll start off with Jordan. He had a phenomenal combine running in the underwear, as people call it. He flew 4.42. His vertical was by 40. His broad jump was 11 feet. Like, he's more athletic than I personally thought he was, and watched a lot of Buckeye football. He was tremendous. So 4th to 5th round is where he'll end up going. Cody Simon, people did not really know a whole lot of that name just because of the experience in coming in there, not getting to play behind the likes of a guy like Tommy Eichenberg. But Cody Simon, my goodness, you look at the traits of what you want, being like 6'2", 235. He is built through the lower half and has closing speed, MVP of the Rose Bowl as well as the national championship game. And so he has the big play ability, can send him when you need to rush the quarterback. He is a sure tackler, can drop into coverage. He's versatile, everything that you need in an age where the off-ball linebacker is becoming less and less of a wanted player that's super important to your team. Somebody is going to get a tried and true, very good football player. Will Howard, he's said himself, you're going to regret not taking him. So 4th, 5th round grade for Will, which is frankly what I've got for other guys like Quinn Ewers as well as Riley Leonard. It'll be very interesting to see what ends up happening, which of those end up rising a little bit or go earlier. But frankly, I think those guys are going to have a run and probably fill into some sort of backup role and be showing up every single day with a smile on his face and his head down and up, head down, ready to work, head up, because he's going to be listening and is going to be locked into every single meeting. He is a spectacular human being. When you listen to him talk, it just sounds like he has that coach in him, that he's able to just speak very, very quickly and sound eloquent with the way he speaks. Will Howard he's got a ton of respect from me coming in and transferring and going through the adversity that he did, the Oregon loss in Michigan, and leading that team to a national championship. Don't want to hear it about the backfield, the great defense, and the spectacular talent at wide receiver. He was phenomenal with his accuracy down the stretch. Later on with these picks, we got Seth McLaughlin, who got hurt at center in practice right before the Indiana game, which was a very tough one. 5th to 6th round. Remember, he transferred from Alabama. He looks to be a surefire draft pick, but later on. And then Ty Hamilton, who is a bit faster than he looks. What is he, like 6'3", 335 pounds at force, right next to Tyleik Williams in the middle of that front. So Tyleik's, that late 1st to 2nd round grade, whereas Ty Hamilton somewhere in the 5th or the 6th round, and then G. Scott Jr. somewhere like 6th, 7th, potentially undrafted. Think that Hamilton will, but again, I think that they'll tie Georgia, and then it's going to come down to G whether or not they end up breaking Georgia's record of having the number of players that go get sent to the next level. G. Scott had that first completion of the Rose Bowl. Will Howard sent it off to him. Buckeyes ran into the middle, and then JJ scored for that touchdown, and they were off and running 7-0 and did not look back. So G. Scott didn't have a huge year as far as the production went. Tight end did not have a huge place in the Ohio State offense last year, as you can imagine, with those 5 names of Henderson, Judkins, Ibuka Smith, and Carnell Tate. You're going to try to compete with those guys for reps. Well, good luck, because those are all 1st and 2nd surefire NFL draft picks. So that is a culmination of what we have here. Just to summarize, Josh Simmons somewhere 1st round, Ibuka 1st round, Donovan Jackson late 1st or 2nd, Tyleik Williams late 1st, early 2nd, Kinshawn Judkins likely a 2nd round pick, potentially late 1st. Same exact thing with Travion Henderson. JT Tuimoloau looks to be a 2nd rounder. Same thing with Jack Sawyer. Denzel Burke got him for the 3rd. Lathan Ransom, something between the 3rd and the 4th. You can get an absolute steal if he's there in the 4th. Will Howard, 4th to 5th. Cody Simon, 4th, 5th. Jordan Hancock, 4th, 5th. McLaughlin, 5th, 6th. Ty Hamilton, 5th, 6th. And then hoping G. Scott somewhere 6th, 7th, because he's athletic and talented. Just tough to get the numbers in that 2024 Ohio State team. That was one of the best college football teams ever. It was certainly the toughest road to win a national championship when you look at who they had to beat with the ranked teams and number 1 in the country that they thrashed. 5 and 6 Texas and Notre Dame teams that they beat. The Texas game was their for sure hardest, and then Tennessee was ranked number 8. They did not get the sheer volume of people saying that this is one of the greats ever, just because of the 2 losses, right? Losing to Oregon and the Michigan game was a complete red checker for a lot of people of why they lost respect for this team. But when it's all said and done and we look at who else is in the ranks to also get drafted, and you can easily say that probably Carson Hinsman, maybe Josh Fryer, JJ, and then Carnell Tate. And I think that's going to end up being, that would be 19, potentially 20 players from that team that end up going to the NFL. So one of the great all-time rosters assembled, and we will track where they end up going in the NFL draft. So I'm going to come out with another video that breaks down where all of these Buckeyes ended up going in the NFL draft, but I appreciate you listening to this entire thing. Had a whole bunch of fun reminiscing and talking about this whole bunch of terrific young men and where they likely will end up on draft day and where you will see them most likely get picked. Appreciate you watching, and you can come back, subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more football content. Appreciate you.